think it is a great message as well. I am so sorry that I did not hit the record button until just now because we missed some super great quotes. If anyone wants to actually type their quote that they used in the chat, then I can share those again later, because I think some of us would really latch onto these quotes, or at least set them as a reminder for ourselves, use them on our social media. So if you want to put them in the chat, that's great. And don't forget, you can also put your contact information in the chat. And thank you, Jeff, so much. Let's go to Marissa, then we'll go to Sherman.
Jeff, what did you coach? I'm curious.
Well, you know, and it was through my boys. Started at 4 years old, coaching soccer, which I knew nothing about. But when they're 4 years old, you don't have to know much.
Nice.
Basketball, but primarily football. Pop Warner, and then on through high school. So
cool. Hi, I'm Marissa Farley from Juice Plus. Fruits, vegetables, omegas in a capsule or a chewable form. So it is not meant to replace what you should eat, but is meant to bridge the gap between what you should eat and what you do eat. Spotlight on the omega blend today. It's a plant-based, so we skip the fish and go right to the source, the algae, and it's omega 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, DHA, and ALA. Again, all in a actually a vegan capsule. So my quote is, and of course my phone just off. Okay, there's no growth in your comfort zone and no comfort in your growth zone.
I like it. Good job. I have a question about your Juice Plus. Is that the green and purple, or capsules that you're talking about that have the omegas and everything in it?
Yeah, so there's a
separate one.
There's 4 blends. Yeah, there's fruit, veggie, berry, and omega. Omega is orange.
Interesting for everyone to know. My bonus daughter has been came to live with us in late January, and she has been going through some therapy and things just to deal with some stuff. And the doctor actually recommended that she get on the Juice Plus product. So nice. To help with some of the, because it's like Shell always says, trauma isn't just mental or just physical. It holds itself inside your body. So healing your body with things like that are going to help move through it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, that's right. It certainly does help with a lot of mental disorders as well. Just, it's not a drug, but it's just good nutrition.
Yeah, she doesn't have a disorder, just an experience.
No.
Going on to Sherman and then Joe.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Sherman Reed with the moving company Sudduth Relocation Systems, or Sudduth Moving and Storage of Jacksonville. A company that's been in Jacksonville, started here in 1919 with 2 mules and a cart. Interesting story. Jacksonville actually used to be where the movie industry was once located before Hollywood. And Mr. Sudduth, Carl Sudduth, came to Jacksonville from Long Island, New York, to be in the movie industry. The movie industry moved away, but he liked it here and stayed and started our moving company with 2 mules and a cart. So cool story. I've been with them for 13 years. We move people all over the world, across the street or across the country or around the world. I can move them from New York to Jacksonville, here to New York. A great referral for me is a realtor that would like to partner up with a sensational moving company that they can actually trust, that'll do a great job. And also anybody in your neighborhood that has a for sale sign. A great quote that I actually live by often is by John Maxwell. I read all of John's books. And he said, it's not what happens to you, but what happens in you that counts.
Right, he's one of my favorite. Absolutely. All right, Joe and then Carol.
Good morning, Joe Vickers. I have 5 different companies. The one I'm talking about today is Vickers Accounting and Bookkeeping Services. I've been a CPA for 30 years, and there's a lot of different money out there for companies, small businesses that are trying to get capital out there. Joe Vickers, Accounting and Bookkeeping Services.
Thanks, Joe. Good to see you today. We missed you last week. And did you share a quote? I know you weren't here, so you may not have one ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have one off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Carol and then Sarah.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Carol Sullivan, and I am a Secret agent. Secret is a wellness skincare company, and our products are actually made on the shores of the Dead Sea and have the healing minerals from the Dead Sea. That was Cleopatra's source of beauty, and it's been known for thousands of years for the healing properties. People have been visiting the Dead Sea. I actually wrote in the little in our chat that I haven't set up any one-to-ones yet with you guys, so I want to start doing that. My schedule is starting to open up, so I'd love to schedule some one-to-ones and get to know you guys. And my quote, I actually have two, so I'll do Joe's quote. How you do anything is how you do everything. That I have stuck on my wall. That really resonates with me. And this is a good one for business. Don't walk past a friend to shake hands with a stranger.
You know, Carol, that quote, the first quote you shared, really think about that about everybody in the room here, is that how you show up here is how you show up everywhere. I mean, these are the people you're looking at on the screen right now are the kind of people you want to do business with, because they show up. Like, you all really show up, and that's, I'm sure, how you show up everywhere. So that's awesome, Carol. Sarah and then Gloria.
Haha, that means I show up wearing yoga pants and wet hair.
Woo woo! But you show up, girl.
Do. Good morning and happy Friday. Not like that really matters because we all own our own businesses. My name is Sarah Justice. My company is Kinda Wonderful. I help businesses be seen and heard by working with them to build brand and graphic strategies that are impactful, profitable, and engaging. I'm also known for the super quick elevator pitch. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into my favorite quote ever. And it's going to be from Albert Einstein. Of course, he's awesome. And it's, creativity is intelligence having fun. And I like it because it's not just your own creativity, but the creativity of the universe and how everything works in synchronicity, and it's all perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say something to Carol. She is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm thinking that her products work amazingly for her because she is beautiful.
That's lovely. I like it. And I'm using the products now too. Can you tell? I actually do really love them, and I'll talk about that at another time. That I'm enjoying them. Gloria and then Gloria, and then I think that's the last one, because Jeff and Howard popped down to the bottom of the screen and almost got to go again.
Hi, good morning. My name is Gloria Stats. My business is Peace of Mind Design, and I do interior design and staging consultations and assistance. My favorite quote, I'm going to start with that, is by Eleanor Roosevelt. I love her, a lot of the things she said, and I love quotes, so I literally looked this one up this morning. So, and I liked it. It says, "Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people." And I think even though it goes to with life, it also goes in business. So.
It's true. Very good. Awesome. Good reminder. Well, I guess I always forget to share my 1 minute, so I'm going to do that. Most of you know what I do, but I'm Katie Norton, and I'm a residential realtor in the greater Jacksonville area. One of the, what I love about real estate is being able to get inside of someone's heart and head and find the house that's going to be a home and do some matchmaking. And I go the extra mile for my clients. Some of them are super easy and you find their house right away, and other ones you have to dig in and go out and knock on doors and see if somebody's ready to sell because the inventory is so low. And that's what I'm willing to do. Like, I sent out 40 letters yesterday to my to one of the neighborhoods my family that's having the biggest challenge would like to live in. And as soon as those letters hit, I'm going to go knock on doors and find out who's ready to sell them a home. So I'm Katie Norton, first to forever homes with Keller Williams Jacksonville. And my quote is, Oh, we get you. The only guarantee to failure is to stop trying. So the only guarantee for failure is to stop trying. Of course, I know that there's some contradictory thoughts about the word trying, but I think you kind of get the point. All right, so let's. Howard had a little a scheduling conflict this morning, so he's going to have to bounce to the end of the call rather than now, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and change things up. I was still trying to find my little PowerPoint, but I can still teach what I was going to teach. But before I go into that, I'd love to hear 30 seconds from Bob on what he did differently in his business past week, based on the mastermind last week. So Bob, 30 seconds for you.
Okay, so one of the things that I did do was I wrote out some personal, like small little cards to people, telling them about my business. So I'm hoping that, that's different than doing it electronically, social media, doing these things, trying to go old school with it.
You will get results from that, Bob.
Yeah, I think I can get some traction doing that. So hopefully I also watched a podcast from another home inspector. He was talking about sending out notes, and he wrote them in the voice of his dog. As like, I'm Briley Rains, my daughter. I'm the marketing director for Rains Home Solutions, and my daddy's grumpy when he doesn't have a full schedule. And you help my dad. Here's what he does. Da da da. So something that he still remembered.
I like it. I like it. And you did the last home inspection for the Sal's. They just moved into their house over there on McCullough Springs, and they're very happy with that. They know everything about their house.
Very good.
And all the repairs were done by the seller. So awesome.
Get that little leak fixed under the sink with or the dishwasher.
It was the seal.
Yeah.
It was just the seal where it hadn't been run in a while is what they figured out, because it got run several times after that. And whenever they watched it run, and it didn't leak. There just been no one in the house. So they were satisfied with that. It was a new dishwasher, about a year old. Yeah. So got that taken care of. All right. So I've got to find this little thing that I was going to share with you. I work my database. I thought this was pretty easy to find. Here we go. Cultivating connections with, and why are all the stuff missing? Okay, I'm going to find this while I'm talking to you, but if you'll put me 10 minutes on the clock, Kathy, 10, 12 minutes on the clock, I want to talk to you about cultivating. If I can find it, make it come up, that'll be great. I'll have a PowerPoint. If not, I'm going to have to fly off the cuff with this one. Cultivating connections with something called DTD2. And you might ask, well, what is that? That is a way to contact your database, your entire database, whether you have 100 people or whether you have 5,000 people, on a quarterly basis. If you do some reading and studying to find out what it takes to really make a connection with a client, or even run your own numbers on how many times you had to actually come in contact with somebody before they converted to be a client, then you'll know how often that you need to contact them. But what we found in my industry is that if you'll contact them at a minimum on a quarterly basis, but most likely if you'll contact them or touch them 36 times over the course of the year, that you're going to have a really solid relationship with that person. And whenever they're ready, because it's a big purchase, the biggest purchase of their life, whenever they're ready to buy a house, you're going to be the first person they think of. So your cycle may be shorter because the thought of, oh, I'm going to go get some t-shirts branded for my business may not take 36 touches to get there, but how many times did you have to reach out and market to a company in order to get them to use your service, right? So just thinking about it quarterly, we have something that we use called the DTD2 database, and we break down, like with your database, most of us use a CRM. Anybody use a CRM like you use Insightly or Constant Contact or whatever it might be? And do you use tags on your individual entries? So if you're not using tags, that's a great way to segment your database. And so I'll tag, I even do this in Facebook, and I'll show you how I do it here in a second. But I tag all of my contacts as they go into my database. And one of the tags that I use, which I'm going to put on, I will send everybody a message on the group with this list, is I use a list. This is going to be funny because I can't find my presentation. I was counting on Howard to go first, but I have a list of the alphabet grouped in 2 letters at a time based on how many last names begin with that letter as a whole throughout the country. So like some percentages. I didn't make this up. I got it from someone else, from Keller Williams, but it works. So for instance, A and W kind of go together because there's a not as many A's as W's, so it's a good grouping together. And I'll send you the list of what it is. So like anybody with the last name Williams, I would tag with A and W. And anybody with the last name D, I would tag with D and O. And it will equal out to like 13 groupings for this database contact system. And so that you have 13 groupings. Well, how many weeks are there in a quarter? There's 13 weeks in a quarter. So it works out perfectly to be able to go through your database and each week focus on one grouping. Even if you don't get through them all, you will be able to put forth your best effort for contacting your entire database in the course of that quarter. It also tells you that, I mean, hey, you might have a week where it's M and X and there aren't that many in there, and you can be done early in the week. And what else can you focus on that week? Actually, because wouldn't you agree that lead generation in your business, the ability to build more contacts and feed into your sales cycle, is probably one of the most important activities that you do for your business, is looking for your next customer, building those relationships. So let me take you over to, let me share my screen. I'm going to show you how I do what I do once I have that set up. I'm going to show you my Facebook and how you can also do this on Facebook. Excuse me. All right, I think you can see my screen. I'm going to go over here to Facebook. Did you know that on Facebook that you can actually categorize your friends? And you're thinking, I don't want to put people in categories. Yes, you do. Can you all see my screen? Because I can't see what you see right now. Yes, we
no?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so if you go to Facebook, you'll notice that on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a list where you can drop it down and it'll show, pages, messenger, whatever. It's running a little slow for me. But if you come down to where it says friends, just below that, it'll say friends list. And if you click on it, Facebook kind of acts as a CRM if you're not using one now. I mean, hopefully we're building good, solid relationships within that platform also. And yours, if you've never done this before, your list right here is blank. You don't have anything. But you'll notice that I have several because I've been doing this since they first announced it many, many years ago. And I have it categorized by my old Mary Kay customers whenever I was with Mary Kay. But like friends that are like, these are really my friends. I really know these people. I have that list. And some other networking groups that I've been in over the years. It helps me remember where I met someone, and it helps me to build better relationships. But here's what else it does. Let's just say that I just want to speak to the people in my list that are realtors, and I want to tell them, hey, I've got a listing coming up and I want you to market to your customers. If I select that's who I'm going to talk to on Facebook, I can post on my timeline with them selected. I'll show you in a second. And they will be the only ones to see that. My friends, my family, people in other states, they won't see it. Only the people that are tagged. So I have this categorized with my little groupings for the letters for the VB2B database. And whenever I want to talk, whenever I'm just working on this database, I will come here. I will look through and kind of see what's going on in just the people with those letters life. And I will start to communicate with them. I will message them individually or comment on a post to build a relationship. I'll like a post or comment on a post, and then I'll send them a message. That does two things for you. One, it builds the relationship. Two, it makes them you start to come up in their timeline and their news feed. So it brings you, more like somebody who interacts with them. So you're going to be in there before anybody else. And then the other, like I said, two things. The other thing it tells you to build relationships. If I just want to talk to that group and I'm only focusing on A and W's that week, I would go to my wall, and I would change this right here to that list. So let me go down and find the A and W, wherever it went to. Let's just select any of them. Let's just say that I would just want to send things to Bartram Springs. That's my neighborhood, people who live in my neighborhood. And I might say, hey, is anyone looking to sell a sofa, like a hide-a-bed sofa, whatever, because that's who I'm going to look at my neighborhood for that, right? Or is there an electrician in the neighborhood? I just want to talk to them, so I'm going to, whatever, and that way the whole world doesn't know I'm looking for an electrician, and the rest of the world doesn't need to have that on their timeline, right? And it's very specific that I'm talking to them. If I were just working my A and W database, and I would just put a post out there that I know that I'm communicating with them that week. And then it allows you to just make sure that you're touching every single person. You can also go back to that friends list or to your actual CRM and start making, let me back up. Using Messenger and sending messages. I'm really glad that that's almost up. Sending messages and using Messenger will allow you to have a history of your communication with that person also. So, you know how sometimes whenever you're communicating with someone, it's better to be able to reference what you talked about with them the last time that you spoke. So if you're using Messenger to communicate, you could go, everything that you've ever said to them is there. So if the last time I talked to Laura was about whether or not when she borrowed my lockbox, I can go back and say, hey, Laura, how are you doing? Did you get that house sold on such and such street? And congratulations, whatever you might say, but all the history, it almost acts like a CRM for you instead of having to make notes into a CRM. I recommend using both, but I just want you to know that you can use Facebook for that. So the whole gist of that, and I'll just recap quickly, is that you use a system of contacting all of your clients within a quarterly basis, and then you repeat it each quarter. And this method of breaking it down by their last name is a great way to do it over a 13-week period. And that is, if anyone wants to ask any questions, you can. I apologize for not being totally ready for that, but I'm happy to answer any questions about making friends list or categorizing or tagging your database.
Katie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so you, to create those friends lists though, you have to go in and find all the friends that match the description and add them.
Yeah, so what I do on that is, if I can pull it back up here real quickly, is whenever I went ahead and did so I have a pretty big friends list, I'm sure you do too, is I some of it I do it as I do it as they become my friend. So if I wasn't friends with Lisa and I became friends, I start categorizing them. Another good time to categorize them is on their birthday. You're wishing them a happy birthday anyways. You're already in their profile to send them a private message, because a wall message sometimes is nice, but it gets lost. But a private message is something everybody doesn't take the time to do. And you're already there. You can go ahead and categorize them then. And I'll show you that, because that'll make it easy for you. I would click on Thomas. Thomas is already a friend. I would go to where it has the little person with the check mark that says that we're friends. Notice I'm not even having to really leave the screen. Well, maybe I am, because it's going to be difficult. And I would edit the friends list, and I would make sure that he's tagged in whatever ones that are going to be important to me. For him, I know him through a friend, but I'm going to go ahead and tag him for his last name. And then I would also maybe tag him I know how I know him, but I have a list called How Do I Know You, just in case I don't know the person and I need to dig in deeper and find out. And I might even put a post just to those people that says, hey, you know, I'm just thinking about all of you out there today, whatever. And I want to tell me how we first met. Because have you ever seen someone do those posts? It's always interesting. And that way I can start really getting to know those people better. So I tag them that way. Or I might go to the friends list and just put in the letter, like, I'll show you quickly. I don't want to take up all the time. Howard should be here any second. I'm going to go back to the friend list that we looked at first, and I'll create a list, and then I would actually search for maybe the letter A, just the letter A, and see how many names come up and just start adding them to the list if their last name begins with A. And that's how I put some of them together. But a lot of them, I'm doing them as I go. That was a long answer for your question. Anybody else have another question while I just show that real quick? This is how you create a list in your Facebook database, and you can name it whatever you want. Say we name it, let's just name one. Oh, I don't have this one yet. Virtual B2B. And I could either type in names of members. He's probably already on another list, Scott Wilson, for Crazy Fun People. And then I would go over to that. Now I'm inside of that list. If I want to add more people, I would just look for them like Kathy and add her. But if I were just looking to do it by last name, I might put, okay, let's see how many people come up with the letter C. Okay, Brad Korab comes up, Amy Korab, and Collins, Korea, whatever. So that's the reason it's easy to either do it now a little bit at a time, or do it as you add friends into your database. That was a lot. Once I find that training slides that I have, I'll send it over to you, and I'll also send over the list of letter groupings, because it's important to do it in that way. But let's go ahead and check in to see if Howard is back. Howard, I know it's a little early for you to be back, but are you back yet? And if not, we'll move on to another segment and come back to you.
I'm halfway back, so but within 5 minutes I should be sitting back at my computer.
Okay, reach out to us whenever you get here. That sounds good.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. All right, so just can y'all tell I'm a little off track? Don't mess up my schedule. I'll be off track. We'll all be all over the place. I'm looking for what our.
We could do the gratitude section or something.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and do that now. Let's talk about the referrals. What I would like to hear is if you have received a referral since you've been a part of the group, I would like for you to maybe share what like who shared a referral with you, or you don't have to say who, because sometimes I know some of your practices are confidential, but you could say that you did receive a referral. And how's that working out for you? Has it been something that's been productive? And then maybe share with us how we can give you a better referral. So it's really gratitude, needs, and referrals, but if we could focus on that a little bit this week, that would be great. And I want to challenge everybody. This week, I want to challenge everyone to schedule at least one-on-one with someone from the group, at least one, and be prepared next week to tell something that you learned about that person during that one-on-one. But let's go ahead and do our gratitude, needs, and referrals, kind of focusing a little more on the referral side. And Amy, you're in my upper right corner, or upper left corner, so if you could go ahead and go, that would be great. And I'm going to get my screen to go away. There we go.
My gratitude. You remember, Katie, when you told us how to put that picture on the left-hand side of Facebook to show your company? I put that on mine and I love it. So I'm thankful for that.
Good. Awesome. Have you received any referrals from the group?
A couple of inquiries, so I'm happy about that. And okay. Actually there was 2 referrals, but I don't know where they came from. So if you refer somebody, tell them to give me your name or where they heard from you.
Okay, so inquiries are a start. We're just less than a month and a half into our group. So inquiries are a good start, and one-to-ones will help pick that up too. All right, so Bob and then Lisa.
I have not received any referrals straight from the group yet, but you know, if I improve my relationship building, I'm certain that things will come.
And Bob, I count.
Yes. Yes. You
Bob
definitely
is getting referrals from the group.
Right. I think I meant other than you, Katie.
Yeah. but it is that relationship that keeps keeps those referrals going too. So I'm glad you're here every week. It gives us a chance to build our relationship.
And I certainly appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, more to come, more to come. All right, Lisa and then Dr. Pam.
Gratitude. Yes. There's so many things I can't even put into words how many things that I'm grateful for. However, this group is really, really great. I said that before, and I just can't reiterate how much, how useful this group is as far as just feeding into not just getting together and networking and socializing, but actual practical knowledge that we can actually apply, even as simple as it may seem to you, Katie, about Facebook. And I go on there, I surf for a little bit. I just don't spend a lot of time there, but to actually use it as a tool would be really great to know how to actually use it, because I don't want to spend my brain there. It's just not a place I want to spend a lot of time with. But if I can find it as useful as a tool, then I'm more apt to spend more time figuring out how to use it as a tool than to hang out there, through the day. So I'm grateful for that. As far as referrals, I have not received any referrals at this point that I know of. Yeah, if you do give referrals, let us know where they come from, or let them know to say who sent them, because that helps us to be able to think and to give reference to the people and give gratitude to the people who actually sent them as well. But at this point, not at all. But I am super thankful for everything I'm learning from the people with a lot of great brains on the screen. So it helps a lot. Thank you.
What I'm really enjoying about the group too is like, I want for people to be able to get business and give business to one another, but I do like it that there's not that pressure to give and get business from one another. But as the coming weeks move along, I am going to get incorporated, not just my self-training, but get some training incorporated on how to do the one-to-ones to where it inspires people to think of you and be able to refer business to you. And you're right, it's not always the referral that you get from something that makes you more successful in business. So Dr. Pam and then Shell. Dr. Pam?
I had to unmute because the space bar thing for some reason isn't working.
It's temperamental.
I'm grateful to be on the group. I haven't gotten referrals, but then I think that my referrals would come as I do one-on-one with the people in the group, and they can't really legitimately refer me if they don't know me, if they haven't had a conversation with me, or if they don't understand really what I do. So for me, I'm really excited about being on the group. I'm reaching out I want to try to have a one-on-one with everybody, whether I need my roof done or whether I need my home inspected or not. I just believe, and it just goes back to my foundational belief, often we can help someone without really knowing that we're helping them just by being who we are. And so I look forward to having one-on-ones with everybody. And if there's something that I can do to help them, or that'd be great. If I can just encourage them for the day, that'd be great too.
Awesome. What I'd like to do is have Shell go, and then what we'll do is we'll pick up on this after Howard, because I want to make sure he gets enough time and we don't end up running short or anything. I don't think we will, but I want to make sure. So this will be kind of interesting, breaking up the gratitude, needs, and referrals into kind of 2 segments. So Shell, if you'll go, then we'll go back to the rest of the group after Howard does his presentation.
Great idea. And so great to follow after you, Dr. Pam, because mine is so much about relationship building. But I have received referrals from the group, from Scott, but also Katie has sent me several. So although I may not live in your area, because my reach and then referrals from clients in the Jacksonville area, I would love to get to know all of you so that I can refer as things are necessary. I had some great one-to-ones with Sherman, and Sarah's helped me with some things, and Howard and Kathy, and I look forward to meeting with everybody. But yes, thank you so much for the referrals. Really appreciate it, and look forward to sending some each of your ways.
If I may say something, I didn't know Shell from Adam there. I can't even pronounce her name correctly. And I recommended her to some friends and they love her to death. So she's doing a wonderful job. And I would definitely refer her again and recommend her to anybody else in the group. If they're having some friends or family that are struggling in their life, she's doing a good job. So just you could send me the $20 later.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Hey, Scott, just so you know, Shell and JP are big boaters, and they have places on both coasts. So I know you like your boating. Y'all might want to get together sometime.
I love boating.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I think Howard is ready. Let me know if I need to do anything to help you share your screen. And if everyone wants to make sure that, like maybe put him on speaker view so that we see him when he's talking instead of gallery.
All right, let's host disable screen sharing. Okay, so you have to enable screen sharing.
Okay, I did not know that was enabled. So multiple, one person, it says one person can share at a time. Is there something else I need to do here? Let's see. Oh, only host. Okay, all participants. Got it. You should be able to do it now.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, whoops. I just want to make sure it was set. Okay. So what I've done is I've kind of pulled things from my main presentation that I do to kind of go through some different types of marketing strategies for small businesses and for business owners to take a look at. I will try to keep track of time, and I appreciate. Yeah, I had to take my kids to camp and kind of messed up the schedule with who's bringing them. So I appreciate the patience with everybody. All right, so basically we'll jump in. There's always the 80-20 rule. I hope everyone has heard of that before, but let me go into presentation mode. So basically 20% of the efforts is 80% of the results. And the real challenge is that you got to figure out what is that 20% to make sure you're as efficient as possible. And so you are always kind of working to figure out what is your best efforts to grow marketing business. Basically, you were trying to get into the head of the prospect and be able to be part of the questions that are going on in their head. There's a conversation going on, and these questions need to be addressed. Really, there's a problem they have and they don't want, and there's a result that they want but don't have. If you're able to be a part of that, that's where the process begins with making them a prospect and then developing them into a client. If you're not addressing any one of those two or both those two, then the conversation is over. So you need to, you may have to kind of reconfigure your messaging to make sure if you're missing the mark with your prospects. Now with websites, I have a lot of opinions on websites. I've worked with websites for a number of years in different ways. And I'm always concerned about companies that have built a website and then never made any changes to it. Primarily, it hurts your SEO by not making adjustments. But if you have a website that is 5 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, and haven't changed it, people notice and people see that. You may have thought it's an expense you don't have to make again, but it really is an investment in your business. If you look at some of the major websites, an ESPN, a CNN, these massive websites, they change them out every year. It looks different. And there's a reason for that, because we want to keep it fresh and exciting to the people who are coming on a regular basis, but also be informative people who are coming on a first-time basis. So you want people to sit on your website. You want them to stay there. You don't want to be the run-of-the-mill website that people are just going to click, because people are going to be clicking back and forth to different websites. To do that is something utilizing the conversion equation, which is also important in video, in ads as well. Interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. The interrupt is a headline. Having a headline on a website is very important because it really states what you have, who you are, and starts to get into that conversation in people's minds. The engage is a subheadline which follows up. Now that people pause with the headline, they're getting a little bit more engaged with that subheadline, and they're going to commit to doing some more research on your website. The educate really is your pitch, and then the offer must be so compelling and irresistible that they can't turn it down. Now, the offer doesn't always mean do business with me. It may mean that you actually are offering them something and you want them to commit to utilizing that. And I'll go into that in a little bit, because truthfully, buyers are on a journey. They're looking for information. Most people who come to websites are not now buyers. They're not making a decision right now and making a purchase and doing something with you. If there's some sort of emergency, if a water pipe bursts in their house and water's running around and they're getting in touch with any plumber, the first plumber that contacts them that they're coming over, they're going to make a transaction with them. That's a now buyer. But if they're redoing the house and redoing the pipes and redoing the faucets, I'm going to be doing research on plumbers over the course of weeks, and I'm not going to make a decision until I'm happy with all the research that I've done. Most people are like that. They're on their journey looking for information. So just a few examples of websites here in this market that people spent some time and effort on, but unfortunately don't really say anything to people going to it. It does have a call to action with a phone number there, but it's slideshows of imagery that really doesn't really tell what benefits people are getting from using this chiropractic service. Financial wealth management, 3 gentlemen in ties and suits, and a slogan, but you have to actually go a step further to contact them. There's no real call to action on the site. Plumbing, it does have a phone number and an email address, but this picture doesn't tell me how good they are and really what their services are. Just for that moment they took the picture, these 5 people liked each other enough to stand next to each other in front of the trucks. That's not the story that really you're trying to sell for people to decide to do business with you. So a couple of quick examples. This is a child psychologist, and his was kind of on the positive end of websites because it does have the drop downs. He did have somewhat of a headline and had a video to explain things and a clear call to action with his free consultation and what he specialized in. We changed it up a little bit. A headline: are you sick and tired of the yelling, screaming, and belligerent attitude of your child? If you are looking for a child psychologist and you're having that issue, I'm now speaking to what's going on in your mind. And you're going to pause enough to read the second, the sub-headline. Now you can discover the secrets to controlling your child and instantly restore peace and quiet in your home. I'm going to hopefully be engaged at this point to want to learn more and hear what the offer is. The video is the pitch, and he actually transcribes it and puts the information into the video. And here's a script, so you have a sense with a headline, a sub-headline, a pitch, and an offer. As a parent, are you struggling to gain control of your child's attitude and emotions? Is your child yelling and screaming at you while often displaying belligerent and sometimes threatening tone that no matter what you do or try, you can't seem to get them under control? My name is Dr. John Smith, and I help parents like you learn everyday techniques that will solve these frustrating and destructive behavioral patterns once for all. In fact, let me prove it to you. Enter your first name and email in the box to the right, and I'll send you a series of 60-second techniques that will immediately restore peace and quiet in your home. So similar to just the way you want to communicate with people, the way Katie was explaining, and having a system to follow up, here's the way to actually get people onto your list and create a list. Much more powerful than a free consultation, because let's be honest, a free consultation everyone should be offering at this point, is that's the expectation. There's gonna be a free consultation. So he actually had been putting some money into lead generation. He was getting about 300 leads a month with the regular website. About 30 people actually called to ask about the consultation, and on average he got about 3 people a month to come in as new patients. When we switched up the website, there was a difference. Same leads, because he was still spending the same amount, didn't change his budget. But he actually got 60 people to put their name and email address in the box. 6 became clients. So now just from the change alone, he was making additional almost $30,000 a year because he started a conversation with people. The key to this really is a few factors. One, if someone comes to your website and then leaves, you have no idea who they are and what any way to contact them. At least here, if they give you, if you make the offer good enough that people want to take advantage of it, you now creating a list, and you can then start a drip campaign to continue to start a conversation and continue it. At the very least, they're walking away with this piece of the series to show his strength as a child psychologist. But you provide more and more information. If they haven't made a decision initially, now you're showing how much of an expert you are. And while they're continuing to make this decision of where to send their child, they're more likely to continue this conversation with you. Now, jumping further into it, because all sales really happen between the 5th and 12th point of contact, you need to continually figure out how to communicate with people to follow up with them to make sure that they're a customer. I'm sure we all have our different ways of follow-up, but utilizing a drip campaign, which I'm sure we all are on if we're not utilizing ourselves, predetermined scheduled basis of emails that have information or telling a story or providing additional resource information that you've promised in the first interaction, and a call to action at the end every time to try to get them to make the to come in for a consultation, to come in and become a customer. Now, visualizing this now, 300 leads a month, 60 opted in for the free offer, and 6 became clients. 54 didn't say no, they just haven't said yes yet. And now they go into the funnel. And every month, people are going into that funnel. And on average, getting about 2 people from this funnel each month from these lists. However, this is happening every single month. Every single month, there are more people going into this funnel, and there's more opportunity to develop business from this. So really, it ends up being 3,600 prospects. That 72 you got initially in those 12 months, 156 new clients that never would have converted had you not started a conversation with them. There's incredible value to utilizing your website as your 24/7 salesperson that communicates with people. Now, whether it's with a funnel like this, whether it's a bot, whether it's a combination of both, it can't just be a digital brochure, because people don't talk to digital brochures. They usually just go by to find something, someone else to take a look at. And until you want to help them make the decision, and to do that, you want to communicate with them to do so. Again, this is growing every month in this process. In this example, he actually had to expand his business because he was able to really grow things pretty fast, pretty quickly. Do I have more time, or am I done?
Kathy? Go ahead, Howard. You have time. Go ahead. You have about 5 to 6 more minutes.
All right. I'll throw a couple of other things into here. Upselling and cross-selling. If you're not utilizing this as an opportunity, it really is a great way to add to your dollars. These are the technical definitions of upselling and cross-selling, but I'm going to put in terms that we may all be familiar with McDonald's. Upselling is if you want to supersize it, and cross-selling is if you want fries with that. Think about that in terms of your business and what your offerings are. If you have a A-level and a B-level package, and you're selling them the B-level package, asking them at the time of sale, they may consider that A-level package, since you've sold them on the value of doing business with you. With the cross-selling, if you have supplementary packages that complement what you are offering, there's an opportunity to have them add on to what they're purchasing with you. But the key component is making the ask, because amazingly enough, 34% of the time that you actually ask, they will take advantage of the offer. 1/3 of the time, given the opportunity, someone's going to say yes. So it is important to not leave that type of money on the table, and figure out within your offerings what is valuable to them, that they may help them make a decision like this. A couple of just visual examples with an auto service. The goal for the auto service is to get you on the rack. Once they've got on your rack offering you something, then there's an opportunity to then see what's wrong with the treads and the struts and the brakes and everything that they can find, and and grow that bill. So for the free, for the $35 full service, they may end up with an $800,000 payment by the time you walk out of there. A dentist is the same thing, because once they get you in the chair, you're on the rack just the same, and they got to get you in for the cleanings on a regular basis. So there's opportunities to see what other work you need to be done for them to really make their revenue. And really, the challenge is getting people sometimes into a dentist chair because of insurance and the fear of not having insurance, or what it might cost. So you need to market to them and speak their language to bring them cover to come in, and then work on payment plans as part of the process. One last thing, it was actually mentioned at the beginning randomly within the conversation. I think is very important, especially in the home improvement category as the visual here. But joint ventures are very important. Having people that you can cross trade leads with that have the same exact prospect as you. There's incredible value if you have the opportunity to see the surroundings of your customer. So someone who does landscaping and lawn services is at the house every week and sees what's wrong with the house. If there's things sticking out of the gutters, if the sprinklers aren't working, there's brown spots, if there's a lighting issues, stonework issues, they can go to the homeowner and say, and I'm from New York, so I always have to say, I got a guy. So I got a guy that can do this for you. And they have these relationships they've developed with other people within their industries to then pass these leads back and forth. But the key to it is, if you contract with these people and you have a contractual relationship, that you can actually get 10% back from the contract that they are now doing with your customer. And it's a great way to develop new revenues in the process. At the very least, an opportunity for them to be passing on leads to you as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities out there that people don't always see within their business, that they have ways to develop more opportunities to market themselves and develop revenues. Any thoughts, any questions?
I'll ask all of mine today at 3 o'clock when we talk, because I got time.
Fair enough.
No, that was great. Thank you, Howard.
All right, thank you all.
Before you go to the next person, I wanted to ask Scott a question, because I think he's trying to help me grow. So what you're telling me, Scott, is people don't have to have a one-on-one with me in order to refer me, that they could just refer me from being in this meeting? Because maybe my expectation is wrong.
Did this guy come off?
I think she's asking you, Howard.
Are you asking me?
Because after I did my thing, he said he recommended Shell without ever knowing her. So I think that he was trying to teach me that my expectations might have been wrong and that I should have a different expectation. And so that's why I was asking him.
Oh, there's a general, I think it's a general networking question you're asking, correct?
Yes, I was asking Scott that networking.
Katie, you're on mute.
Okay, Scott left, but I think also that, if I could jump in, also that came from the fact that Scott and I have known each other for 2 or 3 years now, maybe longer, and like sometimes that third party endorsement of someone is going to give that other person so much credibility that they feel comfortable in reaching out to that person, because Scott would know that I know Shell very well. I would never recommend her if I didn't feel like she was going to be somebody to trust with his dearest, friends or family or whatever. And so if you don't have those third party relationships for endorsement, just like a testimonial, Howard, right? A testimonial on a website.
Those are very helpful. Those are extremely helpful. If you get some good endorsements on a website, on a LinkedIn page. It's always good to have, I guess, backing about you, so that even if you haven't, if someone hasn't really connected with you, they can show that as a resource to what other people have been saying about you.
Okay, well that's I guess I was kind of I didn't understand his comment but I can just call him myself, because I didn't really quite understand his comment, because I thought that that's what I needed was you won't recommend me to someone if you don't know me. And so that, in order for you to get to know me, but if
Dr. Pam, I think the concept is like, if exactly what Katie said, if I trust Katie and Katie says this person's great, then I'm going to trust that that person is great. If I don't necessarily have that relationship with Katie, then I'm going to question it myself and I'll pass it on passively. This person was recommended to me, but I don't know if they're good. So that's where building that relationship with that particular person is vital.
Right. Yeah, I think like I know you from a short time, and I don't want to take away from Howard being able to answer any questions. So, but I've known you for a short time, but I don't we met at a luncheon. We sat beside of each other at a luncheon and got to know each other a little bit. Did a little bit of face-to-face networking. Now we're in the group together because I invited you to come on into the group, and we haven't had a one-to-one to really dig in and know each other either. But if I said to Marissa, oh my goodness, you've got to get together with Dr. Pam. She's awesome. I think she can help you with whatever she needs. And that weren't a good connection in the end, or it wasn't really a good fit. Marissa would start going, I wonder if Katie really knows her. I wonder if, so you got to be careful how you refer people. You got to really get to know someone. Shell has something to add. Sometimes that space bar works and sometimes it doesn't.
I was going to say, sometimes it doesn't. Also, I have a very specific niche. So if someone knows and Howard can speak to this, when you have, like the example he used with the child psychologist, was that opening statement at the top of that website was very specific. If they have a child that's dealing with that exact thing and they can relate, then that's going to connect a lot faster and build that rapport. So that's more of Howard's category. But when I say I help people that are struggling and contemplating divorce, and then somebody knows somebody that's contemplating divorce, not everybody's out there doing that. So the more specific, but that's Howard's specialty. So that's partly, as well as the third endorsement through Katie. So, yeah.
And Howard, I think that Shell really brought that out, is to say that what your specialty is helping someone find out what's going to grab the attention of someone. Like, how do you put together an overall strategy to bring in the people that you're going to want to do business with the most, or need to do business with you the most? Is that kind of in a nutshell? That's a little nutshell of what you do.
A lot of it is starting out to find out what your market dominating message is. Who are you? What is it you do? Why do you do it better than anyone else? So when you are comfortable with that and know what that is, then it's easier to create the statements to share with others and to address their needs that relates to what you do and why you do it so well. So it's really I help people frame their, and it really goes away. It's somewhat branding, but it expands farther than that. But you really got to know who you are before you start trying to explain what they do. It's like going to a networking event and someone rambles on for 3-4 minutes instead of having somewhat of a concise elevator pitch. You got to know what your elevator pitch is. It hits home exactly what you do, and that's what you need as part of this messaging on a website and everything else further than that.
And Howard we had a one-to-one this week, and he kind of made me rethink my show that I want to put together for real estate on a weekly basis, because I wasn't able to answer his question right off the bat. It's like, oh no, I can't find my book. Where's my notes? I know what I want to do because it's written down, but I don't really own it yet. So I started revisiting how much I'm going to own, whether or not to do that show or not, and how it's going to help me build a brand. So
I have something.
Yes.
About what Howard was saying, put the block on your page that gets your prospects to give their information. I thought, why does every website need that? But when I'm searching on the web for things and, going through different pages, if I see a page that I like and I'm not ready to do an action, I think I'll just put my information in here, and then I know those people are going to come back to me and give me an email or something, and so I'll be able to, kind of save that. So I thought, why would you ask everybody who visits my website for their information? I don't really need all of that, but thinking about it, it's a good idea.
Well, take a step back. There's two different pieces. One, there are people who put a box in to give me your name at some point on the website. But this, you're making them a trade. You're trading them something of value, of interest to them for the email. But the key is that is a commodity, their email address, and you need to take full advantage of it. Setting up a autoresponder like on something like Aweber, to that there's messaging that's going out, that you're giving out specials, that you're giving different promotions, that you're asking for leads of others to come do business with you. It is a means for you to develop business and to entice them to come back to you early and often.
And Howard, how do you and I'm not asking necessarily about pricing, but I'm asking, like, do you do your program in like a certain number of weeks, a certain number of months?
I usually work with clients, I say a minimum of 6 months, but I kind of look at, my goal is to work with them for at least 12 months, because it really plays out the different seasons of the year and lets you work with them to adapt to certain situations that may happen in September that doesn't happen in June, but also really see through an entire program to make sure that they're really on track, so that the next year they're making even more money than they did during that current year.
Okay, awesome. Good to know. Good to know. We're going to go ahead and move on. If you have questions for Howard, post them in the group also, because then there can be a conversation around that. You can post them in the chat here, but this chat ends whenever we close out the meeting for today. But if you go to our Facebook group, Virtual B2B Networking Group, and post your questions for Howard there, I'll start a message that says questions for Howard, and then you can put your question in the comments, and then Howard can answer them or say, hey, let's have a one-to-one that's going to be a better fit, because I don't want you to give away all your trade secrets on the Facebook group there, Howard. But let's get the conversation going with Howard. I'm going to put it in the group. What's your question for Howard? And you all can add your questions, and we can see what happens. We can all learn from it. Next week, we have, I'm looking in the announcements right now to see who we have as our speaker for next week, the Business Spotlight. And remember, if you're the person that's in the Business Spotlight, you can choose what you want to do. Do you want to talk about your business, or do you want to have us strategize with you about your business? So next week we have Sherman Reed. And I will send out a reminder to Sherman, because he may not, since he's not here, he may not remember that it's his week, and find out what he wants to do and post it in Facebook and let you know what we're going to be prepared for. But let's go ahead and wrap up. Kind of raise your hand real quick, because the screens, we've had several people leave, and the screens kind of shuffled around for me. But if you have not shared your gratitude, needs, and referrals, then go ahead and take 30 seconds to share your gratitude, needs, and referrals. Raise your hand and I'll tell you that you're next. Anybody hasn't shared that? Okay, Kathy? And thank you for doing the timing.
Sure. So I met Michelle this week. We had a great conversation. She is a wealth of knowledge and just a really wonderful person. So I appreciate that time. I have received several referrals from Katie and a referral from Frizella. And I tried to schedule a one-on-one with Jeff, but I had my scheduling off, and he was gracious enough to agree to reschedule it. That's about everything. Let's see. Awesome. Oh, so I guess I'm thankful for the people in this group. It's been a great opportunity to meet everyone and to really get to know them through the one-on-ones. And of course, I'm very appreciative for the referrals. And let's see, gratitude. I think that's everything.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. I really appreciate you. I mean, you're always sharing good ideas and helping people with some marketing ideas and so on. And that's not it's your wheelhouse, but it's not your current wheelhouse. And it's nice that you feed into people, so breathe into people. So that's good. Anybody else who didn't get a chance to share? Carol.
Hi. Sorry, I had to go off for a second. grateful for this group, Katie. I think it's really awesome to have, especially during this time, but also going forward, to have a virtual networking group. I don't know why we didn't think of it before. And I had met Howard in a previous group a few months ago, and he was very knowledgeable and very helpful to giving me advice on my Instagram. So not that I'm still haven't done too much with it because I've been working on a few things, but I have my notes and ready to go that he so graciously was, able to give me some good information. So thank you, Howard. And yeah, I had a referral, and that's from Katie. So, and it's been going really great. So that's been awesome. And I also agree. I think I don't know you guys. I know Sarah and I know Howard and Katie, but I do need to schedule some one-to-ones. My boys have been playing baseball the last few weeks, and I have not been able to do a schedule. If you've ever played that, you never know when you're playing the games until the last minute. So I'm done with that in a week, and I'll be able to start getting some one-to-ones scheduled.
Awesome. Thank you. And just my gratitude, needs, and referrals is a gratitude. I really am enjoying the products that Carol's company offers. I've ordered several of them at this point. That's why my eyelashes look so long. Men, I know you want that. I know you need it. And Joe, did you do your gratitude, needs, and referrals?
No, I haven't done them yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, grateful for the group and learning a lot of information. And we're doing some one-on-ones.
Okay, awesome. I like that breezy background you've got going there.
Oh yeah, I've got an outer space background too, and sometimes I use.
Oh, yeah, I like that beachy background. You and Scott had your beach theme on today. Oh, yeah. So good to see you. I'm glad you're here. We missed you last week, and I think that's everybody.
Very quickly,
Okay, go ahead, Howard.
It's been a very busy week. I think last week I met with Joe, but this week I met with Shell and Lisa and Katie, and it really had some amazing conversations with everyone. That really, the job you've done putting the right people together in this group, Katie, has been fantastic, and it really shows when you have these one-on-one conversations with people. So everyone just keep it moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Howard. And go ahead, Sarah.
I had a great conversation with Tom yesterday.
Good.
It's really nice having different marketing kind of people together, because sometimes it's hard to see things when they're right in front of your face. So we chatted a little bit about what I was working on, and we're going to have another meeting and talk about LinkedIn. So I'm really grateful to have that opportunity and the other knowledge bases that are coming in and having such a diverse group. I've enjoyed talking to Amy. I've talked a little bit with Shell, and of course I know Carol and I know Howard, but I'm looking forward to meeting more people. And I encourage people to challenge me, because doing one-on-ones, I still struggle with being kind of like an introvert. I'm either like, really, I don't want to talk to anybody, or I'm spastic. So it's a skill that I really need to work with. So I appreciate anybody who could help me out with that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'd love to do one-to-one with you. All right, and Marissa?
I'm a little upset because Gloria jumped off, but I was excited to share that I met with her, and she inspired me to make changes in my home, and I'm so happy, and I just have this like weight lifted off of me with just one comment that she made. So
okay,
very grateful.
Yeah. That's interesting. I would ask you to share, but obviously it's something personal. But
no, not at all. We were just talking. Yeah, we were just talking, and I was like, yeah, I moved in 3 months ago. I'm like, or 3 years ago, and I was like, I just don't feel attached to it. Like, it just doesn't feel like my home. It's just the place that we live. And I was just randomly talking, and I said, and I still have the curtains up from the original owner. She's like, well, that's something that'll make you not feel like it's your home. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. And I took them down, and I'm embarrassed I didn't do it sooner.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. But that's
too.
important to know. Like, that's those little things. Like, I'm the same way at my house. That's the reason I'm going to have her come over and help me, because I think your environment around you is so important, and we don't give it enough credit. We do not give it enough credit. So I think she can help all of us in some way, shape, or form. So thanks for sharing that. we're going to go ahead and wrap up, but I wanted to remind you that next week we're going to be, over the next week, please focus on doing at least one-to-one. And during our segment for our minute presentation, or 1 minute marketing, I'd like for you to just take a few seconds to share also what you learned about the person you did your one-to-one with. Who did you do it with, and what did you learn about them? And I think that will bring us closer together. It'll get us all out there active, looking for a person to do a one-to-one with. I mean, just doing one a week over the next several weeks will, it won't take up too much of your time. It'll be one of the best investments of your time that you'll have throughout the week. And I also want to encourage you, speaking of the number one, let's invite one person next week. There's still several people that we have room for in the group. We may have to cut, trim some of our segments as we get more people in the group, but it will also give us a chance to do breakout sessions. And within Zoom, you can break out into rooms and in groups and talk and discuss and have topics of discussion. And I think it would be exciting to be able to do that. Like you were just saying, Sarah, the marketing piece. Wouldn't it be awesome to take all the marketing people and drop them into a group to be able to have a discussion, maybe all the coaches into a group to have a discussion and build from there. And we'll see how that goes. But let's all invite one next week, and let's all do a one-to-one next week. And I'll put that on the Facebook page. Any final comments before we go? Okay. Howard, thanks so much for sharing with us this morning. That was awesome. Yeah, big round of applause. Woo!
My pleasure.
And looking forward to hearing from Sherman next week. You all make it a great day. I'll post the recording in the chat from this week and last week later today.